The European Union needs to set its strategy for the next 10 years according to the Sustainable Development Goals. And in particular, when we negotiate the next financial framework, we need to see in every policy how to reach the Sustainable Development Goals and how to organize our policies to reach it.
The Member States can and should give a mandate for sustainable development to be included in the EU strategic priorities. And we need to ensure that sustainable development will be firmly rooted in the political agenda of the next European Commission.
The next immediate big thing that Europe can do is to make the right investments. The EU has a model of multilateral investments, meaning we pool our money together and we use it with more impact. We've seen this in the research programs. We've seen this with the Erasmus program. That's a really efficient way to do things, and that's what could be done tomorrow.
We need a clear mandate for the civil society in the implementation process and to monitor this implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals.
It is important that sustainability is the norm. It is important that consumers, when they go to the shops, to the supermarkets, they are reassured that what they buy has been produced in a sustainable way.
The EU needs to improve its own sustainability model in an evolutionary way. At the same time, we will need to scale up our efforts to convince other players in the world to make more efforts to develop their sustainability models.
We need a comprehensive strategy on how to implement the 2030 Agenda. We're tired of waiting and we're far off track from reaching the targets. The priorities of the EU will have to fundamentally shift, and it needs to start with the new European Parliament and the European Commission. Want to have some ideas on how to start? Well, how about a new DG or even a VP for well-being and future generations?
To achieve this, Europe must invest in universal quality and public education as a fundamental human right.
Innovation is an important part of that, but innovation does not happen in a vacuum. You need a robust, binding policy framework to drive innovation in the right direction and to actually ban or at least disincentivize unsustainable practices and incentivize or even require sustainable behaviors and practices.
Energy is clearly one of the essential elements of a modified society fighting against CO2 and so on and so forth. So one has to make it sustainable, but one must make it also supportable.
I think Europe should ask the European financial sector to step forward to enable investment in sustainable developments, to combine with other institutions to be able to bridge some of the long-term financing needs, and to find ways of taking some uncertainty out of investments that are there.
So how do you match the objective and also make it socially tolerable?